Writing a book can easily turn into something very disorganized and difficult to manage. Today, I'm going to show you a few tips and tricks that you can use to make the process a little less chaotic, more organized, and hopefully a bit more fun as well. I'll start by showing you how to set up your project in Speare so that you can organize everything in one place. Next, I'll talk about how to create a manuscript that allows you to navigate and rearrange the content within your book by drag and drop. Then I'll show you a cool system for managing your writing project called the Manuscript Dashboard. Next, we'll go over some different ways to organize notes, ideas, and research. Then I'll show you how to save drafts of your manuscript as you go, and lastly, we'll take a look at how to share and export your work. Alright, so let's start by creating a workspace for our project. So as you can see, I'm already in a workspace, and I've already organized this project just how I want. The great thing about a workspace is that it allows us to put everything in one place like this. To create a new workspace, all I have to do is come over here to the library panel and click on the new workspace button. By the way, if this panel is not open, you can just click on this home icon here. Alright, so now let's give this workspace a name. We'll call it Book Project, the Apple and Orange. And then if I want to have quick access to this workspace, I can just click on this little menu here and then say Add to Favorites. And now, no matter what workspace I'm in, I can always get back to this project very quickly. You can also switch between different workspaces using the library panel over here, but if this isn't open, this is much faster. Alright, so now I'm going to close the library panel and let's come back to this workspace here. Okay, so real quick, I want to explain the difference between the workspace bin and the landing zone, just so you understand how workspaces work. So the landing zone, this is where you can create new content directly in this workspace, and it's also where content will appear if you import anything from the library panel. So for example, if I come over here and let's say we want to pull in a page, if I click on it, it automatically gets added to the landing zone down here. Think of this as kind of the creative, messy area of the workspace. So for example, if I create some content and then I open up a bunch of stuff from the library panel, you can see that very quickly things can get kind of crazy and out of hand down here. But it doesn't really matter because the whole project is still nice and neatly organized up here, just the way I left it. If I want to move something from the landing zone to the workspace bin, I can just drag and drop it like this. So the workspace bin is where I can be organized, and the landing zone is where I can create new content and be as messy as I want without wrecking my project. Okay, so now let's get rid of this. So we'll move this, and we'll just close down these items as well. And now let's talk a little bit about creating a manuscript in Speare. One way of creating a manuscript would be to just create a single page. So we can create a page here, and give it a name, call it Manuscript, and then we can just start typing on this page. So if I want to add a header, I could just type a / heading, and then a heading 1, and then we'll type chapter 1. The problem with creating a manuscript this way is that as the manuscript grows, it will get harder and harder to navigate, and it will be very difficult to rearrange the chapters later if I want to. So instead, we're going to use an element in Speare called the stack. What the stack allows us to do is create a document, or a manuscript in this case, that's made out of many pages. So as you can see here, I've got like, 30 or 40 chapters, and if I want to navigate between them, I can just click, and then it'll automatically scroll me to each page in the stack. Another cool thing you can do is rearrange the chapters by drag and drop. So that's very slick. And if I want to add new pages or folders, I can just click up here. To show you an example of what a stack looks like with folders, we can just come over here, and then we'll pop open these two manuscripts. So in this manuscript, you can see that I've organized the chapters into a 3-act story structure. And then in this one, I'm using folders for chapters, and each page is a scene. So there's just a couple different ways you can use folders to organize your stack if you want to. So then coming back over here, if you want to remove a page from the stack, you can just click on the menu option here and then select the Remove Page from Stack option. Also, real quick, if this panel is closed and you want to see the table of contents, you can just click on this icon right here. Another quick note, if you want to write in a more distraction-free mode, you can just close the panels. So we'll close the library panel, we can close the sidebar, and then obviously we can close the table of contents as well. One quick thing to note about these bars, these are just showing you where each page begins and ends. So these won't be printed or exported if you decide to do that. And lastly, if you want to create a new stack, you can just come down and create one here. All right, so now let's talk about managing our project with the Manuscript dashboard. So the great thing about the Manuscript dashboard is that it gives you a bird's eye view of your entire project, and it also allows you to include details about each chapter that you can't see in the manuscript itself. So in this case, I can include chapter summaries, and I can also see the status of each chapter. So this one is currently in the writing phase, this one's complete, I have a few that I haven't started, and then I have this one down here that's in the editing phase. If I want to see the content on these chapters, all I have to do is just click on them. And then I can click right in here and I can start editing if I want. So it's a great way of actually working on the manuscript as well. And if I want to close this panel down, I can just click on the X icon here. So another great thing about the Manuscript dashboard is that it's built using a database, which means I can filter, group, and sort based off of the tags that I've added to the content. So for example, let's say I wanted to group all the chapters in this database according to their status tag. Well, to do that, I would just click on the group button here and then select the status column. And now, as you can see, I can see all the pages grouped according to their status tag. If I want to stop grouping, I can just come over here and then select the garbage icon. Another thing you could do is say use the filter to filter out all the chapters that are complete. So in this case, we can add a filter condition, and then I want to say where the status is not, and then we'll select the done tag. So now all the chapters that had the done tag applied to them are now filtered out. So those are just some kind of cool ways of working with your content in a database. Again, with the filter, if I want to shut this off, just click on the trash icon. Okay, so one other thing I want to mention about the Manuscript dashboard, another cool use case for it, is for storing content that you're kind of on the fence about. So let's say this back in the game chapter was a chapter that you were kind of going back and forth on, so you took it out of the manuscript. Well, rather than throwing it away, we can just mark it in here with a tag and set it to pending or some other tag. So the great thing about this is we haven't thrown it away, we still have access to it, and if we want to add it back into our book, we can. Alright, so now that you know the gist of the Manuscript dashboard and how it works, let's talk about how you can set it up yourself. So to do that, all you have to do is come down here and click on the Create a Database icon. And then we'll give this database a name. We'll just click on the pencil icon here and we'll go Manuscript Dashboard. We'll go P2. And then we want to change the title of this column so that it says Chapter. And we're going to get rid of this field for now. Delete. And then we'll add a text field for our chapter summaries. And then we'll make this a little bit wider. We'll go ahead and make this one wider too. All right, and then we will add our status field. So we'll say status, and then we will add some options here. So we'll go not started, writing, editing, done, and then we'll add in the pending tag. And then we can give these some colors. So we'll go yellow, red, blue, and we'll go with that pink color again. And then save the changes. All right, now that we've got this set up, how do we get the chapters from the manuscript into the Manuscript dashboard? Well, the easiest way to do that is to set the two up side by side. So to do that, we can just click here and drag this to either side and drop it. And now we've got the Manuscript dashboard and the manuscript side by side, and then we can just click on the table of contents and then just drag the chapters in. And then let's go ahead and junk this top row, and then we can add our chapter summary. So this is the chapter summary, and then we can set the status to whatever we want. In this case, we'll go writing, for example. All right, but what if we create the chapter over here in the Manuscript dashboard first? Well, in that case, let's say we created a new chapter. We called it The Big Plan. All we have to do is just drag it into the manuscript wherever we want. And there you have it. And then we can include our chapter summary and our status just like we did before. Okay, so now let's talk about how to organize your notes, research, and ideas. So here we have a database that I'm using to organize all my scene ideas, chapter ideas, themes, and research. I've also included some additional tags here just to make things a little bit easier to find later on if I need to. Just as before, we can filter this content based off the tags. So if I want to find all the content that's tagged with the Alfred Hennessy character tag, I can just come over here and select the has any of Alfred Hennessy, and there you have it. All of the pages that relate to him are right there. So essentially, the database is just a really powerful way of working with lots of content. Even if this database gets quite large, it's still quite easy to find things because of the tagging functionality. Okay, so one other quick way of organizing your ideas is using a board. So the cool thing about a board is that it allows you to see as many pages and stacks side by side as you want. So in this case, I'm using this board to organize my characters. And if I want to add a new page or a new stack to this board, I can just click up here. If I want to see all the content on this board in a list and navigate using that list, I can just click on the items like that. And I can also remove the items from the board as well by clicking these X icons. Alright, so now let's talk about how to save drafts of our manuscript. So to save a draft of our manuscript, all we have to do is come up here and select the Duplicate Stack as a Page option. So we'll just click that. And now we have a page down here that has all the content that our manuscript currently has on it. Now, you could duplicate the stack completely, but the problem is this would duplicate all the pages within the stack as well. And then these pages would no longer be linked to our manuscript here. So the best way is just to duplicate the stack as a page, and then you can just put it in a drafts folder. All right, lastly, let's talk about how to share and export your manuscript. So if we want to share this manuscript with a colleague or a friend, all we have to do is click on it and then come over here to the Share button and then click on the Create Link button. And that'll create a shareable link for us, which we can then copy and send to whoever we want. If you don't want the link to be out there anymore, you can just delete it here. All right, and lastly, if you want to export your work, all you have to do is come up here and then you can do the Save as a PDF option. You can also print it from here, and you can export it as a markdown file. Alright, so that brings us to the end of this video. I hope you found some of these ideas helpful. If you're interested in trying Speare out for yourself, just go to Speare.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.